tax. If you went out to buy a luxury helicopter that cost $1 million, how much taxes are you paying on it? Zero.
6%.
Zero. We have no luxury tax on expensive items because those companies have lobbied Harrisburg to not have taxes on those. So if you add up all of the money we're losing on luxury items from boats and high expensive cars and stuff, that is about $100 million. And don't hold me to that number. There's better sources to find that number, but there's $100 million. We are not taxing shale gas. And I know there's some people out there that say we shouldn't tax shale gas because we'll become addicted to shale gas and the money. Well, I'll give you 3 reasons, in my opinion, why we need to tax shale gas. One, until there's a moratorium on fracking, which there is not, we are giving this stuff away for free. It is a natural resource that we're giving away for free, and that is about $200 million a year we are giving away for free. 2, by not taxing shale gas, we're keeping the price of shale gas artificially low, and the ability to sell shale gas for the most part is tied indexed to a cost of a barrel of oil. So when oil drops, they tend to shut off shale gas because nobody wants to buy it because it's too expensive compared to oil. Now that oil's expensive, they're pumping a lot out of it. But until we tax shale gas, it'll be so artificially low that they'll never stop pumping shale gas. We're making it too cheap by not taxing it. And third, as I already mentioned, I'd use that tax to actually stimulate next generation energy companies to come in, which will obsolete shale gas eventually. But anyway, so we're losing $200 million a year on shale gas. We're losing another $100 million or so because of what they call the Delaware loophole, where Pennsylvania companies can claim they're in Delaware and not pay tax. So right there, you're getting close to at least, somewhere between $500 million and $1 billion that we're currently not getting. And there's many more things we can do along that line. So there is sources of money. Is there money for everything we Democrats want to do? Not all 30, so we're going to have to pick 10 or whatever it is. But there are sources of money that we're not doing. And by the way, the amount of money we're losing because we have lost our credit rating in the state 4 times. Our credit rating in this state has been dropped at least 4 times because we can't put a balanced budget together. Cost this state about $100 million because every time they go out and borrow money, they're now borrowing money at an excessively high rate because our credit rating's dropped. So we need to fix our budget now and start saving. That's $100 million we just lose. It's not even income. We're just losing it. If you follow the last budget thing, we're actually using 2019 money to pay for 2018. We're actually using money we're getting next year from the cigarette litigation. I forget the name of the bucket. We're taking money we're getting next year to pay for 2018. Boy, if you did that, the bank would close your house. I don't understand that. It's not a renewable source of money, and it's money we need next year. So our budget's going to have to be redone again, and we're going to be in a hole. So even just fixing our current budget issues will save us money. So there is money out there to be had. It will take a lot of convincing because there's people that want to protect certain things like luxury tax and things along that line. And that's where we need to elect more Democrats, by the way, to open up some of those really innovative ways to look for sources of money that really aren't going to cost the average Pennsylvanian very, very much at all.
So I'm sorry.
Is this the same topic you wanted to speak on?
It's a follow-up to that.
Oh, go ahead.
So Bill, as you suggest, Pennsylvania seems to be looking at ways to generate income. It seems to me, as you read the tea leaves, that Pennsylvania is eventually going to be moving into the use or the permission to sell marijuana for personal use.
Right.
What's your thoughts on that? Would
Well,
you support any legislation?
so first of all, medical marijuana, done deal.
Right.
That shouldn't even be a question. It is there are valid medical uses of it. We are very happy to sell opioids left and right, but we can't sell marijuana for medical uses. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'll be honest, personally, I don't smoke. I'm not a big fan of it, but when I look at should we allow use of marijuana or not? I look at it, well, we sell alcohol and we sell cigarettes and we sell all these kind of things. And if you look at the impact of marijuana versus alcohol, to me, it's not even a real question. We have, we tried prohibition on alcohol. Never did it work. People like to drink. It impairs your, mental faculties, all that. We have no problem drinking wine, right? It's not an issue. So, I'm not a big fan of marijuana personally, but I would not stop any legislation. I would definitely support legislation that looks at personal use because it's no real different than the other things that we already find acceptable. And it's a phenomenal source of revenue. You have to look at, you look at Colorado, we're leaving billions of dollars on the table because we have this, marijuana is bad, why we're going out to a bar and drinking ourselves silly. So to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, the arguments against marijuana, when we already are doing other things that are actually probably worse for us. And we're missing that source of revenue. So I would support legislation to legalize the use of marijuana in this state. Yes.
Okay, my question is about charter schools.
Yes.
It seems like they are escalating upward and costing more and more money. I don't understand the theory behind it where you're paying a private company to run a school that used to be paid for by school taxes. And I would like to know your...
I do not support charter schools or cyber charter schools for the predominant reason, one, we all pay for brick and mortar schools, and every student you take out of a brick and mortar school, that school loses a significant amount of money, yet they still have the capital they have to pay off. As a society, we pay our taxes to have brick and mortar schools. If you're not happy with your brick and mortar schools, we actually control our schools locally through the school board. And so, you have the ability to go and really change, your school if you wanted to. But brick and mortar schools there are very valuable. The teachers there are very valuable. And every person you pull out for a charter school damages that brick and mortar school. I know the trend is cyber charter. Cyber charters, why they, in theory, are held to the same standard of taking care of special needs students. In all honesty, there are not a lot of special needs students that are going to do cyber charter schools, so they don't even have the same cost as a regular school does, and all the services that a regular school provides. On top of that, the charter schools are not held to the same standards. They're for-profit schools. You know what you're getting with your brick and mortar school and your school district. You don't with your cyber charter schools. They're not held to the same standards. They don't have the same cost structure, and it's just pulling money out of the public system that we all pay for. And I do not support it. I don't support privatization of most public things. Definitely, we haven't talked about it here, but I don't support privatization of the prison system. I don't support privatization of our public schools.
How about the state store system?
I'm sorry?
How about the state store system?
As in alcohol?
Yes.
I'll be honest, I don't drink a lot, so that one's a bit odd. I've seen pros and cons. I'll tell you, on the occasional bottle of wine I buy, it's kind of nice to go in the grocery store and buy it. I don't know much about that issue to discuss that one particularly, but definitely I don't support charter schools. I will say, Garnet Valley School District did something interesting with cyber charter because they were losing students to it. So they pulled cyber charter into the school. And so in Garnet Valley, they actually run a cyber charter school and they get to keep those students. Not every school district would be able to do that, but if the trend is towards cyber charter schools, it would be neat to actually place those cyber charter schools in the public school district so you're not losing the funds for the students. That's a pretty unique situation though.
Just to follow up
Yeah.
on that, how do you feel about nonprofit charter schools?
Again,
Because you're only talking about the for-profit there.
right, again, anytime you pull a student out of a public school, that brick and mortar public school loses tens of thousands of dollars.
So when you think about the Chester schools, and you're a parent that has a child in a Chester
Right.
school, would you keep your child in that Chester school?
What I would love to see is that there's enough community involvement that you go to your school board and you fix the problems. Now, that is pretty naive and pretty simple to say, and again, I don't live there. Philadelphia has some of those same issues too, and I've talked to their teachers union. They have some charter schools in Philadelphia that really, really make a difference. So, not being in that situation, in those cases, there will be times on one-offs that they make a lot of sense for that particular school area, and that decision should be made locally. So, if the people of that community think that's a better choice, but in general, to just open the floodgates to any charter school, especially private ones, I think overall damages our public school system. There will be cases in underprivileged areas. I'd rather see money put into those brick and mortar schools and attention paid to those schools to bring them to the level that the community could be happy. So I'd rather see that tact and get that school, the problem school, up to operating conditions versus throwing it away and saying, let's just go over there. But again, I don't personally live there, and each community might have that issue, but overall, across the state, I think we need to really stay away from charter schools.
Well, my understanding, the charter schools don't have to deal with hard-headed kids. And that's the biggest thing that brings down the public school system. You get a hard-headed kid, it brings the whole class down.
Depends on school.
Well, the one, let's say the one in our region. Now, the ones in our region, they suffer from it, and they assault a teacher, and they wanna bring a police officer in, and I think that's the last thing. They have to solve those disciplinary problems in, or they need tools where they can place them into a second hard-hit group. And I don't wanna see them in the juvenile detention center, I wanna see them dealt with at their own neighborhood level, but it's profit, nonprofit, and then it's also union and non-union.
Right.
The union teachers have a lot of say in the matter of what's going on. And I can't say enough bad about the union teachers for their investment in Mariner too. And this pipeline system, they made $100 million on it last year, but.
I just would like to make one comment. So you bring up hard-headed kids, but let's just talk about special needs kids across the range. Every kid you pull out of the brick and mortar school and put in a charter gives you that less money to really help those kids that need to be helped. And so, yes, it may bring down the school, but we need to help those children as well. And when you pull students out of the brick and mortar school, you're just leaving less resources to help those kids as well. So, they're part of our society too, and we can't ignore them. We actually have to try to help them, and pulling money out of the school system is not the way to do it.
So it's a little after 8:30.
Okay.
Thank you. So thanks for your great questions for Philip.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for your great
Thank you for your
answers.
time.
So we're just gonna switch to a little bit of a mingle, and if you've got questions, conversation, share with each other, you're welcome to do that. We'll be here for a little while. I would ask that you share our candidate. And if you're a little shy, don't be. Be bold and feel free to ask your questions.
And pick up, I have 3 position papers over there, one on harassment and gender equality, one on sensible gun policy, and one on the environment. There are going to be more coming, but I have paper copies here, and please feel free to pick them up so you can learn a little bit more about what I stand on in those areas. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.